Acho que eu quero ver.
Ainda não está.
Isso tem um lag ligeiro, não é?
Tem,
Tem
tem.
só.
Sim, sim, tem. Tem
Ainda
sim.
vai. Vou disto. Se tu tiver, nós podemos dar uma vista de olhos no OBS, nessa história toda.
Sim, olha, entretanto já estamos live.
Ok.
Hello all, joining this now.
Hello.
We are just sharing and then we are going to start the conversation. Thank you so much for being there. Eu vou deixar isto aqui. Eu tenho isto a carregar. I have my telephone charging. Ok.
I'm sharing this on my page as well now.
Uhum.
On my pages. No, we have pages. We don't have one page. We have a page, we have a group, we have our personal Facebook, isn't it?
Yeah,
We're all
I just have my personal Facebook and then I have the YouTube channel and that's it. But I'm in many groups and pages and because people invite me and yeah, but I don't have a group. I don't have a group. Yeah. But you have a group now.
not yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
it is because I am on this course right now. It's called the Business Accelerator by London Real. You
Mhm.
probably heard about London Real Academy. I'm not sure. They have
No, not
these.
sure
They
too.
had these interviews, and they had this interview with this guy that talks about the five with the G's. And they got censored. And so yeah, this is where I'm having my course, and it's very much about social media and
Mhm.
how nowadays social media marketing is actually the best marketing that you can have because everybody's online, isn't
Yes,
it?
that's true.
And so, creating a group and having a place where people can come together, and then you can create different kinds of groups, a group where people need to, like, if you giving extra value that you don't give in a different way,
Mhm.
this would be a place where you could congregate these people together,
Mhm.
and the people that get the extra value
Yes.
in terms of content. So, it's something that is now a little bit on my radar than
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very
So
grateful that you are here today, having this conversation with me, and joyful because for me this is always a joy. And yeah, I'm giving you the microphone. So if you want
thank
to
you.
introduce yourself, maybe.
So yes, thank you for having me again. This time we're making it in German. No,
Not in German, no, no.
we're having this conversation in English. Yeah, because
Mhm.
I like before I was speaking like three different languages. Um, yeah, this time we're having this conversation in English, and I suppose we don't have a subject chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is on your channel, so probably I introduce myself just a little bit.
Yes, yes, of course.
My name is Carsten Henriks. I have been, yeah, well, I'm from German, Luxembourgish origin. I grew up here in Portugal. We are in Portugal. You are in the south, a little bit further south of Portugal, in Alentejo. I'm in Lisbon. And yes, I'm very much into ecological design and permaculture design, and this is basically how we met, right? And I've been working with permaculture for a long time, or at least this is started, I think, in 2007 that I got the spark, and I've been in it ever since. Now I am working a little bit. Well, things turn out in a way that I have dedicated a great part of my life to personal development. Becoming better myself because I noticed that permaculture and all that stuff was so much the work outside of myself and not so much inside, and I really needed to start went into kinds of things like I did Vipassana meditation. I dedicated myself also a little bit to the medicinal use of plant medicines like psychedelics, ayahuasca, and so on, like magic mushrooms. And also healing with Santa Maria with cannabis as well, because I had some kind of, you know, with people, it's kind of a sensitive subject because most people think that cannabis is not addictive or anything, and that I consider it to be a very important medicinal herb, and but it needs to be respected, and you really need to, if you take it, you or use it as a tool, that that you need to be careful with it, because if you go a little bit further, it doesn't feel that well, and then you become airy, and at least that's my experience, right? And so yeah, and now I am this whole person thing. I really went a little bit deeper into trying to help people to live a better life and be at peace with themselves, because I went through a lot of not so nice things in my life because of my lack of self-esteem, self-confidence, self-love, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so yes, and here I am talking with you again, and we have met about, well, what was it? 1 year ago? Was
Yeah,
it?
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe 1 year ago. It was in the
Yeah, was it
regeneration
last
camp.
summer? I
Yeah, 11 months before. It was in November, I remember, I think.
think it was 2 years ago actually,
Two
because
years?
last year I was there with Noah, and I
Mm.
was working on the camp. Like I was what they call in Portuguese monitor, one of
Oh,
the
okay.
guys that took care
Oh.
of the kids.
Oh, so
When you
maybe it
were
was
there,
2 years ago. Maybe, yeah.
yes, time rushes
Yes.
there. Yeah, 2 years ago I was working in the gardens a little bit, and then later I was working also as a, what do you call it? I don't know the name in English. A monitor, right?
Yeah, I don't know either. Yes, I think it's monitor or facilitator, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a facilitator. Yes,
yeah,
it's basically,
yes. Mm-hmm.
we were taking care of kids, having a lot of fun, teaching them how to be, because many of the kids that go there, they're like, ah, they so educated.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
So, yes, here we are.
Here we are.
Thank you for having me again. Yes.
Yeah, it's a mutual joy, I believe. So yeah, that's it. That is what makes me share these conversations is the joy factor for me. And I was watching one of your videos yesterday or 2 days ago about, and you were speaking about words, and
Yes.
that subject makes a lot of sense to me. And I have called that subject many times because I feel the same about words that they are powerful, and you say, yeah, they are spells, and also they create, they are creation.
And
And
they're programs.
also,
They are they are structures that have a form, and that they're almost like, like a program, like in the Matrix. The Matrix, like for example, Agent Smith, he was a program, but he acted by himself, right?
yes,
He was working for the Matrix, but he really didn't care about the Matrix, you know, which is funny.
yeah, it's very interesting
Uh,
that part. Yeah, that is
and
true.
so, like, I think that words and many words together make eventual sentences and so on. And these can, I think I see them as almost like programs, and they have their structure and they act by themselves. And so beliefs will not be okay with other beliefs that put these beliefs in question, right? So, like the beliefs within ourselves, when you have cognitive dissonance, which
Yeah.
is you have two beliefs that one goes against the other and they don't fit in any way. And so you're like, like it's like a war within you and you feel like divided because
Yes.
you're on both sides, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I with that whole thing of my experience with personal development, I kind of fell in love with NLP, neuro linguistic programming,
Yeah. Yeah. It's very
in
interesting.
Portuguese PNL, Programação Neurolinguística,
Yeah.
because of Tony Robbins, which is like this really big coach in the States, very successful, and he talks like this, and
I have never heard anything from him, but yeah, there are many,
yeah,
let's say, facilitators
yeah,
giving the same
coaches,
kind
right?
of message. Yeah, coach.
Yeah.
I have um, read a book from a Brazilian
Linguistic programming
neurologist.
specialist.
No, he is a neurologist, Augusto Curi. Have you heard about him?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
Yes.
and in the end it meets neuro linguistic programming also in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there are many persons delivering the same kind of message, let's say.
Hmm.
And we have
Yeah.
Joy Love that says the collective yes educated and haha, and also yes mind must deny and challenge 3 times before acceptance. Say Joy Love Works Pro. Thank you for being here with us, Joy, and adding your tone to this
Hmm.
conversation. And she says also that she doesn't use plants. Yeah, and I have used only weeds for a brief time, but right now I don't use anything either because my body doesn't stand it anymore. So if
Yeah.
I smoke uh, just a little bit of weed, I go to sleep. But I always it's like I'm always, let's say, stunned by nature, by the connection with totality, let's say. So
Yeah.
yeah, like trees, they give me really high stone in the sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are so many things that we can actually do to be heightened, isn't it? To be uplifted and everything. Like, and this has been one of my focuses. Like I in many situations I actually wanted to smoke because of actually the energy that it give to me. Um, it might also like there is a difference, obviously, in the different types of cannabis, for example.
yeah. Hmm.
One might be more sativa, and the other one might more indica, and the indica kind of brings you onto the sofa, and you don't move. And then indica is like, hey man, let's do stuff, and we have energy, and we wanna look. I have great ideas, and we're gonna do this, and look at this, and what do you think about this? And so usually I was more on the sativa side. So I like my creativity was really big, and I had insights, and I had really almost like conversations with I don't know source something like that,
Yeah.
and almost like downloads, like oh yes, I have never thought about that. But the danger with cannabis then is that if you're not rooted enough, right, that you forget
Yeah.
you just forget. Yeah, like you have this insight, yeah, great idea, and then 5 minutes later you're like, what was I talking about?
Yeah.
And so you need to know how to work with this. Like if you go there, take a notebook, use it, use the tool, but be able to ask yourself, and this is also one of the things that I noticed with cannabis is that it's like where does it end? Like when you smoke, where does the ritual because if you take it seriously and take it as a medicine, you need to make it ritualistic, I believe. Like this is going to start here and this is going to end here. And, I'm going to use this time for this effect and these questions and this intention, and then use a notebook or something and write down the ideas that come from it and so on. so
Yes.
that you don't forget,
Yes.
or I
Yes.
don't know, record or something, and really use it as a tool. Because if
Mhm.
you don't use it as a tool, or if you don't consider it a tool to be used, and you just use it randomly without any kind of intention, it just, I believe, and this happened to me, it becomes a crutch, Mabingala. And crutches, this is when crutches cripple. You know that sentence in English? When you,
Not sure.
if you use in Portuguese, se utilizas uma bengala, começas a cochear,
Oh, okay.
right? So
Yes, yes, yes.
if you
Mhm.
use a crutch,
Yeah.
you start to cripple because at one point you don't know how to walk without the
Yes.
crutch,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you need the effect again, and this is where it becomes this addiction, right?
Yeah, but
So
that's
and
yes. Keep on. Sorry.
yeah, and this is, I think, where everything becomes a duality. You can use a hammer to hit somebody on the head, or you can use a hammer to build a house, and you know build a house for that guy. So you can use a hammer in different ways. It's a tool, and everything is a tool, basically. So and you can get like stuck within that, and it becomes a crutch, and then you can't walk anymore. You need the tool all the time, and yeah, it's a different approach, and this is where I believe that cannabis is so much more powerful than we believe it is, and you need to be careful when you use it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally resonate with what you are sharing. We have
Yeah.
David Saavedra. Thank you for being here, David. Hello, everyone. He says, big hug and kiss. And Joy Love says, my mind from Echoes Toll. Mine from Echo Stoll writer. Echo Stoller was the guy you were speaking about. I don't know.
Who was
And
that?
she said, mine from Echo Stoll writer. I don't know if I understand.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Say something more about it.
she says, my science self says I will believe until or unless one can disprove its non-existence or validity. Instead of proving us it real, then prove it isn't real to know. That's how Joy Love feels about, maybe I believe it's about cannabis, how she feels
Yeah.
about it.
It is a plant. It comes from nature, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of provided.
Yes.
It has its effect our brain and our body, just for other psychedelics as well.
Yeah.
They have receptors for it.
Mhm.
And there is actually a TED talk that talks about psychedelic mushrooms, from this person, from this doctor called Dr. Roland Griffith.
Mhm.
And on his TED talk, he talks about the studies that they've made, with cancer patients, like terminal cancer, with people that wanted to end smoking, with what do you call it? Treatment resistant depression,
Yeah.
and then also with, which is very interesting, with advanced meditators, and which is very, very interesting, I think. And the people that had trouble quitting smoking cigarettes, they were able to. Um, the about I think the success rate of the what do you call it, damn it, the treatment resistant depression
Yes.
was almost like something like 90%,
Mhm.
and with one session,
Yes.
and they were treatment resistant, so they weren't able to take, they took the medication, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with the magic mushrooms, in one session they were able
Yeah.
to be okay
Yeah.
for the next 7 months or something like that, right?
We have
And
here Marco André Rocha. He works with, he says, psychedelic is my sin. Yeah.
it's just
Marco
what?
works, it's his sin. You know, he works with the psychedelics, and he does treatments with that with some clients also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, awesome.
What I
Yes,
feel about
get in touch with me.
yeah. So Marco, you can psychedelic says Marco. Yes, Marco. Sorry about my
Yeah,
English. Psychedelic.
and
Uh,
so yeah, Roland Griffiths was what was I gonna say? Um, no, I don't remember, but you know they were really successful with those people with depression with one treatment, which is
yes.
something you really didn't have any time before in science. Like
Yeah.
the statistical significance they had with the success rate they had for this experiment or this study was really important.
Mhm.
And and yeah, you know, again, it's a tool.
It's a tool. That's what I'm going to share. What I feel about all these tools. First, every being is unique. So one tool that works for one being may not work for the other. So each person must feel what they feel called to do, and because there is not a recipe for everybody, a pattern that fits everybody will fit in, and so there are many paths and many tools, but also
Yeah,
tools. If you get addicted to the tool, then it loses the sense, as you were sharing, yeah, in the
yeah.
sense.
It's a little bit difficult to get addicted to magic mushrooms and
Yeah,
ayahuasca or something like that because
yeah,
you get a beating, you know.
yes, yes.
Like,
or
whew.
or addicted to the idea that it's the only tool that you have. Let's say it's
Yeah,
more because, as we were saying about words, it's all what is your inner feeling about anything. So if you like, if I feel that if I don't have this lighter, I will have no luck. I will have no luck because I feel this is to be truth. This is a poor example, but in the sense that wherever you choose or open to believe that will work for you. But if you have this resistance within yourself that doesn't want to expand, then you can try everything. And for me, I feel that it will not work. About
yeah.
my depression, when
I
I
I
was
think
years in depression, I never took many things, but during some time I was taking really like a kind of Prozac and things like that. And I said no more. Then I searched for some natural tea or something to help me, and then it helped me. And during a little while, I will smoke weed in the night when I was getting in like the repeat mode and I was not able to leave it. But right now is like is I don't take anything because my body doesn't stand anything anymore, because
yeah,
it's like I get sick if I do it. Next day I feel headaches, and I really I don't need it anymore. And what I
yeah,
discovered about my personal case is I was addicted to suffering, addicted to depression. So that's why nothing will work, and things just work when I choose from my heart to let it go, in a sense.
yeah,
That was my personal experience. So I could have done many treatments, many stuff, and nothing will have been working until I really decide from my inner wisdom that yeah, that's enough. That I'm not afraid anymore to let it go. For me,
yeah.
it was my
Th-
yeah.
Sometimes there are what do you call it? Like subliminal beliefs that you don't really you think you believe something but you really don't.
Yeah,
Which is kind of in Portuguese you say macaco.
yeah,
Really crazy. That for example, like if you might be depressive because when you're depressed, people will take care of you.
of course,
And
yeah,
because you have the belief that if I'm not sick, people won't take care of me, or I want to be taken care of, and I believe that I they don't care about me when I'm not sick,
yeah,
then you kind of have the benefit of being depressed,
yes, yes,
right? And so it's like a subconscious theater that is playing that you're not really understanding on the on the on the frontal lobe of your brain. Like you don't see it, you don't
yes.
really understand it.
Yeah.
I'm saying this because like a few weeks back, I went to see a friend and we did a theta healing session. And you do these. It's like a test of your beliefs. Like you hold your arm out, or you stand still and close your eyes, and you say something like yes, 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 and supposedly you go forward, and no, 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 you go backwards, and
It's like
like
muscle testing, right? They call it muscle
exactly,
testing.
exactly. It is muscle testing. Yes.
Yeah.
You also have that test, right?
Yeah.
Like this, and you have this test where you have your arm like this, and a
Yeah.
person presses your arm down. So
Yeah.
when like when you say yes, 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 supposedly your arm is strong, and you say no, 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 your arm gets weak.
Yeah.
And if you say something that you don't believe, like uh, I don't love dogs, So suppose and you want to press your arm down, I love dogs,
Yeah.
so my arm will be weak
Yeah.
because I do love dogs, and if I say I don't love dogs, make my physiology be weaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is how your subconscious is connected to your whole
Body.
system of
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah. All the system. Yeah. We
Yeah,
have.
and sometimes it's that thing, that little beliefs that we are not really aware of that then impede us or don't let us move forward in our life, which is macaco.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel that like the root of the many things that hold us back is always fear, in a sense, because um, the
Or beliefs,
yeah, but
limiting beliefs.
beliefs are deeply connected with fear too. The root is always
Yeah,
fear,
yeah.
in a sense. For me, from what I feel as truth, we have Marcus says one mushroom trip and life changed immediately. That's my experience. So that is my experience.
Yeah.
Joy Love says the kind of statements came from my learning from Ritter Echo, actually, all his book, The Mastery of Love. This next statement is separate subject. I once had Leslie said my if I, it's difficult to read everything. I once sat in front of a friend and I said, I don't need this anymore. I turned and was bent over, violently shook. Uh, this was witnessed by friend, my
Friend, my spiritual
spiritual
mentor.
attack. I was thrown down to hit. Yeah, it's a long story, Joy. Yeah, maybe I will try to, me and Karsten, we will try to give our feedback after we finish the live because I'm not being able to understand it really well now. We have Ida Flores with us. Thank you very much, Ida, for being here, and Patricia, my sister, and Griselda Orozco. Yes, thank you for being here. And I don't know if you want to answer Joy now, or maybe we leave to
Yeah, I think the best thing is we answer later because it's really
later.
long.
Yeah, it's
And
long and yeah.
yeah,
Um, I would like to call a statement that I saw in the first video that I saw from you, and that it was the title of the video, and
which one is it?
it was with Amarna Life, a conversation with a girl
Oh yeah,
from Amarna Life, and that you said like the inner landscape is the outside landscape is like a reflection of the inner landscape. And I
yes.
love this because I feel it's such for me it feels like truth. I don't know if you want to share
Yeah,
something.
it comes down back again to what I was saying before, like I dedicated a long time of my life and my studies and everything that I was interested in, and studying like on a kind of daily basis, the stuff that I was reading and the movies that I was watching on YouTube and all of this, like all the content that was coming in, was very much about permaculture and how to kind of help humanity to save itself. Now I understand that we're actually trying to save ourselves. We're not trying to save the planet because the planet is going to be fine if we're gone. And what I understood was that, and I saw this in many projects that started kind of failing because humans were not okay with themselves before they were trying to do something on the outside world. Like we were all trying to save ecology and reforest and all of this, but we're doing it from a mind, from a what do you call it? From yeah, a mindset or a mainframe that is the one that has actually caused the problems. And so we're again projecting all the problems that we have not solved on the inside to the outside. And so the outside work, ecology, whatever you're trying to do, doesn't work,
Yeah.
you know? Like you try to connect to people, but then these relationships fail. You try to bring abundance into your life, but you have a scarcity mindset. And so, it's abundance in the beginning and then it goes down again, and you get this really nice job where you get a really nice pay, like it happened to me. And then I wasn't able to deal with the people. I didn't have self-confidence enough to stand up for myself. I saw them basically manipulate all my work, but I didn't do anything about it, and so I failed. I had good intentions. I knew what I was doing. I knew that if I would gonna do this, it would have good results, and I was having good results. But all the other stuff I had not, dealt with that, and it came from the inside. I, without knowing, was projecting the problems outside again, and I attracted exactly the people that were kind of a confirmation for what was happening inside of me, here, especially, here and here, because a lot of stuff comes from here because it has to do with self-love, I think. And with me it was that thing, like I didn't think I was good enough. I had low self-esteem. So when I was going to do something and I wanted to tell it to other people, I was not confident about it, even though I knew what I was talking about, you know and because I thought that I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
so they are better than me then. So whatever I say, I need to try and convince them.
Yeah.
And so and so they were just, they felt attracted to me and they brought exactly this into my life. And so I believe that we really need to take care of our inner landscape, our inner universe, or whatever you want to call it, our inner organs as well, seeing our mind and a different dimensional kind of organs, right? This is all one whole thing. And we really need to get into peace with ourselves, and then we can start work outside. And then the outer organs, the ones that give us the oxygen and the food and the microbiome and all of this, then these we can work on. Until then, it's gonna be, trying to make the effort but then failing, and trying to make the effort again and failing, and maybe it grows slowly, but
Yeah,
I
it
think we would be
grows
so
and it
much
takes
more
time.
successful if we
Yeah.
were at peace with
Yeah.
ourselves, and like be the best version of ourselves, and then start really the work outside. And this was the missing piece for me. Like I was not at peace with myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
I relate totally with what you are sharing. And we have Mark who is saying, um, uh, okay, he's still speaking about the weed stem. You can smoke if you are okay with smoking and you respect an inner au- authority, and you respect your inner authority when she says stop. Health, it's all about inside balance and conversation. Yes, Marco, I agree. And he says we have the same vibe. And for me, pranayama is my inner language. Also, we have Fernanda
So breathing.
Pinto. Yeah. And yeah, you were telling about this, and I have been contemplating in many situations the same. because everything comes from the lack of self-worth too. It's the pillars of many stuff is the fear and lack of self-worth, which are connected, of course. Everything is connected, at least for me. And it's that feeling that we are not enough, so we have to prove all the time. And I contemplate this
Yeah.
in myself, I contemplate this in the people around me. And but when you are when you become aware, then is the next step is very interesting, because right now sometimes I'm acting still uh, guided by this, like for instance, like lack of self-worth, but then I am contemplating myself. So the some kind of issues keep coming to me until I find balance. But at the same time, as you are aware, it's different, and the things come in a different level. So the expansion continues, but it's like a pulsating. You go a little bit contract, and then you expand a little bit more, and then you contract and expand, and it's growing.
Yeah.
And there is a virtual friend that she once did a very interesting drawing which shows that exactly. And for her, she called, because many people call ascension, I prefer expansion, because for me there is no levels in a sense, because that sometimes became like a competition. Oh, I'm above or below or
I'm
something.
higher.
Yeah, higher. And actually, I don't know. I feel it's more that depends, because each person has the unique path. So maybe some in some parts are more expanded, but in other parts no. So I see more like this. And she said that that was in her drawing was like a small ball, and then the ball keep on growing, and you are still meeting the ball every time, but with a different awareness. And so you deal
Yeah.
differently with the situations, with a more in a more conscious, let's say, paradigm. Something like this.
So, yeah, um, to ascension and expansion. Actually, I also like very much the analogy of the onion. You know, the peeling of the onion and you taking off the layers, and then until you get to the middle where there's nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think things always grow in two directions at the same time, at least. If you look at the tree grows downwards just as much as it grows upwards, and you need to get rooted just as well as you need to get heightened. So, like, if you can go very high, like with cannabis, but you need something to hold yourself in the ground, and this is what happened with me. Like, I was very up there, but not very much rooted, and so I could not manifest things, right? So it's very high up there, and your crown chakra or something like that, and you see things. But then you're not down there in the matter and can manifest things into like your experience.
Yeah.
And then uh, also at the same time, I like very much the analogy of it's like a carousel, but it's the carousel that you need to push. You know
Yeah.
those the I don't know the name in. I think it's called merry-go-round in English.
Something like this.
I don't know the name
In Portuguese.
in Portuguese,
Yeah.
but basically it's really hard to push. Wait, push up, push, push.
Yeah.
Like push, empurrar. In
Yeah.
Portuguese, it's the other one.
Yeah.
Puxar is pull.
Uh-huh.
So you need to push it
Yes.
at the beginning very hard, and it starts very slowly.
Yeah.
But once it's running,
Yeah. Then
it's
it's
really
really.
hard to stop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And jumping in is also difficult when it's quick.
Yeah.
And so I think that all these different situations that we have in our life are all these different wheels that we have pushed or stopped or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they have their momentum. So momentum is basically balance in
Yes.
Portuguese.
Yes.
When it starts going, it's more difficult to stop.
Yeah.
And this is an analogy that is very much used in personal development
Mm-hmm.
for explaining, like things won't stop immediately. They take their time to stop. And
Yeah.
you will still receive from that thing
Yeah.
that you had worked on unconsciously for a long time before. and until things stop moving, it will take some time.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're trying to bring new things into your life. Like, for example, you want to meditate every morning for
Yes.
15 minutes. And until you get that wheel, that carousel going, the meditation carousel habit, it takes some time. But once it's running, it's hard to stop. And
Mhm.
so you don't meditate, you notice immediately, right?
Yeah.
And and now we're in the habit zone. Like we are what we like do on a daily basis,
Yeah.
right?
Makes sense.
We are all the friends that we hang around with. We are all the conversations that we have. We are all the stuff that we read. We are all the friends that we have met before, and all the experiences that we had before. And habits are the thing that kind of that hold yourself together into what you want to be. Like, I want to be like this. What are the habits that I need to do for being like this? And so if you don't continue your habits and you start having habits from other people come in, and your friend comes, hey, let's drink some beer. Yes, let's go out at night. Da, 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 and then you're off track, right?
I don't
So you
know.
want to
I
be
don't know. I don't have habits.
you,
I don't have
you
habits.
have habits,
No,
you have habits.
oh, I have one habit like siesta in the afternoon. But
Yeah, that's one
sometimes I
habit.
don't do it. Sometimes I don't do it.
You eat
That depends. It's in the flow. It's in the flow.
You eat, for example, every day at the same time.
Yeah,
Usually
that's
you go to
true.
sleep
That's
more or
true.
less at the same
Yeah.
time, right? So,
Yeah.
or if you might have the habit of not going to sleep always at the same time and always going to sleep whenever, you know.
Uh,
Um,
we have sorry to we have Joy saying some things. So I would like just to try to read. Um, I don't have. You are dead. Say Marco. No, I'm not dead, Marco. I'm here. You are. Why? Maybe I'm a hologram, Marco. Joy says, "Yeah, I wasn't afraid to let smoke it go. Was them on the tag? Oh, so I feel that Joy experience was very powerful experience. Um, and Joy says that like there are many things that are real and that we cannot see. Anyways, Joy, I'm very sorry that like you are putting long comments, so I'm not able to respond right now or read everything. But I'll come back to you after the show, or maybe tomorrow if I don't have time after the show because I have to cook dinner and stuff. But anyways, I'll come back to you, and then we can chat a little bit about more about this, and also you can leave some questions. After we finished. And Marco is laughing. Yeah. Let's say Marco, responding to Marco, it's like I have some things that I usually do, but um, my personal experience, I'm not very much in habits. Let's say, I'm very flexible and right now I try to flow. So let's say that there is not a pattern in my day. But of course I have the kids, so I have to take the kids to school. There are some things that I have to do. I have to give them dinner after the show because tomorrow they have to wake up early. So I have to follow right now. They have come back to school, so I have to follow some things so tips keep things keep on working. But when we were like in homeschooling, no, it was freestyle, and so there was not so much habits. But of course, we all have some habits. But for me, like in my pet, for instance, meditation, I don't do meditation because let's say during years I was dreaming about learning how to meditate, a lot of stuff, and then but I was just reading all the information will arrive to me through books, but many books, many were not about spirituality or were different kinds of books, and when I was able to start maybe taking a meditation class, because during many time I was having kids and having a lot of stuff in my life, and I wouldn't have the money, a lot of situations. So I didn't do anything. And then when I was able to start doing something, I accessed information that for me, my personal experience is to try to keep a connection 24/7. So what I feel right now is the more connected you are and the more in the moment you are, the more you are flowing with the totality. So for me, I don't do meditation. I try to be in a connection state all the time whenever I'm able to do it. Not easy, but it's what I'm feeling for my personal experience right now. So I'm all the time living with the planet, and many times I'm chanting or a lot of stuff when I'm able to do it. And right now I'm doing in front of people sometimes, connecting with the nature, with plants, and I access information at every now in a sense. But of course, meditation is a path too, from what I feel as truth, is a path to then you be in that state of connection 24/7, because we are never separate from the totality. We live in the illusion that we are separate from the totality. So we use meditation as a tool to be in connection with the totality. But that is a tool, sword with two arrows. How do you say? In the sense that then people get attached to, if I don't do my meditation, I'm not doing right. You know, I don't know how if
Yeah.
that makes sense to you.
To me or
I
to
don't know to you and
well, I
the ones that are listening. I don't know.
so yeah, to me it makes sense. I see it as uh it's just like we are lifting stuff and doing coordinative things with our hands every day. But I believe that and I lift stuff and I lift sometimes heavy stuff and sometimes I need to be quick to get the train or something like that, right? So I work out every day, at least like 6 days a week I work out, um, of which 6 days I run. And so running is going this, and it's just a 5 minute run, but it's going to help me with all the other runs that I will have that are not during my workout. And I do my workout and I become stronger so that over the days I can, like if I work in the garden, like I haven't had any situation where I had to lift something heavy and have back pain. So I have never had back pain again because I work out. And I think that meditation is more or less the same thing, that is just like a gym for your mind and you getting to know yourself a little bit better. And then so that when I'm during the day, I have the ability of being a little bit more connected because I went to the gym, to the mind gym, right? And so I see it again as a tool, like I don't think that meditation is the thing. I do meditation to be a better me. I'm not me for meditation. And this is usually the trap where people fall into. People go into the church because before the church instead of for themselves. And people go to work supposedly for themselves and they don't live for the work. And usually this is what happens then, is that we actually fall into this trap. And so, yeah, I do meditation just to be a better me on the rest of the day. And yeah, this is what has been working for me, obviously.
Yeah,
And yeah, so
yeah,
it's again a tool. Yeah, I don't want to be spend all my time meditating. I want to be in a meditative state as much as possible, but I
yeah.
don't want to be meditating. And I went to Vipassana where you stay 10 days offline, in silence, not talking to anybody, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's all very interesting, but I don't want to be living like that. And it's just that time where you do that workout, really strong workout, and you work yourself out on different ways, on different levels. and then you bring that into your reality.
Yeah.
Just like when you use like cannabis or magic mushrooms or ayahuasca, the work needs to happen here in this reality where we are, meat and matter. And just like we are incarnated as humans here, we are not like spirits all out there, you know. And many people say, oh yeah, the spirit world, da 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 da, but then they're not connected to the other side of the spectrum,
Yeah.
which I believe comes with the yin and yang and the black and white and the yes and no and bad and good, spiritual and matter and all this stuff. So I think really like where things meet is where like the opposites meet. It's where things happen, and so you know life happens here.
Yes, real life, everyday life. I'm these last days, and I'm hearing some Coldplay music, which is called Everyday Life, because it's for me, it's the most powerful thing, and we came here for that. I don't know. So we
Yeah.
have Joy is doing a lot of comments. Um, there is a free
Mm,
will, then there can be influential from spiritual realm. Then now, yes, totally not future or past. Now power is now power. Yes, Joy, that is true. Meditation is awareness of mind over body control. Yeah. So Joy is making a lot of comments. We have Barbara Ake here. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm very grateful, Joy, for all your comments, which I'll try to give feedback to later. And she says, Joy also says, meditation builds mind awareness of the now to be nine reactive to body demands, and others asking for us to admit an emotional act like is not along our purpose. Yeah, Joy, it's I have to come back later to this. So Barbara is saying stickers, and yeah, I really feel that any of us, like I know a guy that I had a conversation here some twice at least, which is a painter. So all his, let's say, spiritual path was through painting, and I know a guy which is a sculptor and is the same. So I know so many people that are doing, let's say, their inner work, their inner expansion through many different, using many different tools. So meditation is one tool. Other people wouldn't
yeah,
never use meditation, but still they are expanding as human beings. And so,
yeah,
yeah, for me, there is not a receipt or a established path. It's each person will have to find what
yeah.
resonates
I
more. And
yeah.
but also I would
I
like just to say to Joy that from what I got, she had some experience that she felt attacked by some energy, by some being. For me, for my reality, I feel that we are the creators. So whatever we believe as truth, it is truth. We are the creators. So I see only light. Even a being that comes from the, let's say, dark, for me is light in essence. So yeah, but anyways, I'll come back to all your comments later, Joy, to share what I feel about the what your experience. And because actually there we are creating, we are always creating whatever,
yeah,
in a sense,
yeah,
with, as you told so well, our beliefs, our mindsets, in the sense, our words, our emotions. Like the book I was reading recently from Greg Barden, it was very interesting for me. It was like confirmation, confirmation, confirmation. And he speaks about how our emotions create, because of course our body um, is through our emotions, you are spreading a frequency. For me, makes total sense. So the frequency that you are in that moment is creating too, even if you don't say words. How do you
Yeah,
feel about this?
yeah. Um, so yeah, this whole theory of Abraham Hicks, I really like that idea, and it's the basically all people that talk about the law of attraction kind of really comes from that,
Mm-hmm.
from the teachings of Abraham. This is Esther Hicks that is channeling um, uh, infinite intelligence, it seems, like many different entities altogether. And they talk about this, and if you look into, it's like a sonar, I think, just like a bat or a whale in the sea. They send out, and then wherever it hits something, it comes back, and it comes back, from those places, and it's the sound that was sent out. And I believe it to be exactly the same. Like you're sending these vibrations with your emotions, with your lack of self-esteem and your scarcity mindset and your beliefs and your fears and everything, and whatever picks it up feels attract, and it mirrors it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
It comes back to you.
yeah,
And I think it's exactly the same. And this is what I was talking before,
yes,
that the inner landscape will be kind of vibrating, and it will attract stuff from the outer landscape into to meet your yourself,
yeah.
right?
We
And
have,
and
it's
you're
so
you're kind of
funny.
in between.
Yeah, we
And
have
so
Robin Cabral, just to say, and Robin is in Hawaii. Hawaii, that's how we say. I'm always say it wrong. Hawaii, como é que se diz?
Hawaii,
Hawaii, and she, yeah,
Hawaii,
and they are always seeing whales and dolphins, and so it's amazing that we are speaking about this. And Robin comes here and she says, "I meditate in action, movement all day long." That's, yeah, Robin. That's how I feel about
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
getting
And
in the water, full meditation. I know that I'm able to be in motion for the well-being. Yeah, Robin. Yeah, I feel
yeah.
resonate.
And also, like what I was gonna say before, like in permaculture design, you have all these different principles, and one of the principles is that every every element um, performs many functions, and every function is supported by many elements, right?
Yes.
And so I believe that all of the things that I do for myself end up being multifunctional. Like when I and now if we want to go into meditation, you know, like if you do a vipassana, you're there sitting for 10 days, 11 hours a day, and every time you sit, it's 1 hour. Like you're gonna sit for 1 hour. If you can go out, but like at least on the fourth day, every like 3 times a day, you're gonna sit for 1 hour without moving. Aditan, right? So sitting in strong determination. And for example, if you sit for 1 hour and you hold your position for 1 hour, it's hard, right? And it's just as hard as you're running for half a kilometer already, and then you get to that road that goes really peaking up, and you start sprinting, and you think I cannot anymore, but then you push it just a little bit harder, and so workout goes exactly in the same
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
And then after my workout, I jump into the cold water, and it's exactly the same thing. Like I don't really want to jump into the cold water, but I know that it does well to me. And when I get out, I'm like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all these little things that you do over the day or in your morning routines. Like I wake up, go into the cold water, and then I sit to meditate, and then I might write something, and then I go for a run, and then I do my workout, and all of these different things, and all of this without eating still, right? So without eating, if you do intermittent fasting, it's exactly the same thing. You're gonna be like, hunger is coming up. Oh, and then I could eat now, and maybe I could eat a cake, or I could, eat some proper food. And so all of these things are always helping you become a little bit stronger with, you know, with the day-to-day little micro decisions that you take in every moment. Like if you don't work out and you don't do those things and you don't work yourself out right here and here, then somebody says, why haven't you done this? And you like explode because, you know, you because you don't have control over yourself. But then if you have had all these, things that you have gone through during the day to work on yourself, to make yourself a little stronger, then when somebody says something to you that would normally trigger you, they won't trigger you because you're like, like you're strong and you're just certain about yourself because you know what you are able to. You push yourself to the limit, you know what your limit is. This is something easy, right? And you need to toughen up. That's the thing. Toughen up, buttercup. So and it's I think that all these different things that we can do, like also like if you do martial arts, especially taking yourself a little bit to the limit, where you're leaning against fear, where you're leaning against your discomfort. It's that it's going to be uncomfortable. And before, like when I started implementing all the workouts and all the things that I did and waking up early, I was resisting it, and I knew I wanted to go for that run, but I didn't really want to because it was going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be cold and all of that. But then, and I noticed myself procrastinating, like, oh, there's something that needs to be, I need to turn this and just to all inventing all these little things before even going out. And then now it's my normal, like if I don't go for that run, I feel it in my body. And it's a big difference for me. And it's my new standard. And for example, Tony Robbins, that coach that I was talking about before, he always says, raise your standards, raise your standards. How does he say? Once don't get met consistently, standards do. So if you raise your standards, standards are normal, right? If your standard is running every day for 1 kilometer in 5 minutes, that's your standard. That's your normal. Like if you don't do it, you're like getting, you notice it. And it becomes your new normal, you know. And I think that all these little things, everything that makes you stronger, um, then becomes your new normal. And especially if you implement it in a way that, it's done consistently and so on. So yeah, and you can pull this into education of children, like if you pamper a child, or if you take that plant that's always growing in the greenhouse and it has the best water and it's always warm and everything, and then all of a sudden you don't have the greenhouse anymore before because it like went with the wind or something, and then the plant is going to die immediately, because all of a sudden there's like this true uh,
Yeah, it's a
weather out,
shock. Yeah, it's a
windy, it's
yeah.
cold, and it rains and all this, and the plant always grew up in a greenhouse, and it's not going to be strong. And it's something that you see a lot in nature. Like if you have, I remember reading in the permaculture book, you had this forest that was in front of a field, right? So you had this line of forest here that started, and everything was trees here. And what happened was they cut down all the first trees, the first tree line.
Mm-hmm.
What happened then was all of a sudden the whole forest just fell.
Yeah.
Why? Because the first trees were the ones that were strong with the wind,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the other ones that didn't got the wind, they were not as strong. And so they cut the first tree line, and so all the other forest was weak, and they fell with the wind. And so the tree fibers become stronger because the trees are exposed to the wind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And muscle, for example, right? Muscle grows with resistance,
Mm-hmm.
and a plane takes off always against the wind. So you have all these different analogies that show you that if you don't, like if you want to become stronger, if you want to become better, you have to go through a little bit of of discomfort, of resistance, of you know, going, against a little bit with against the force, you know.
I don't know if I see stronger as better, but I feel like our body. I was speaking with that with a friend this morning. Like our body is like a machine. It has to all the joints, or I don't know if it's the correct name. They must be oiled, let's say, for the machine to work well. So if you don't move your body,
Yes,
um, it will, let's say, decay in a sense because things will stop moving. And we were
yes,
led to believe that that is the normal aging process, but right now I don't believe it because I had with my personal experience, like when I was 40, I was not able to do a lot of stuff that I do right now. So and now I'm 52. So that was my personal experience, that as we exercise the body, we can be better than we were, like better in the sense the body will be working in a more comfortable way for us. Um, but not exactly that we have to be stronger, but it's good that we keep our body working. But there are
yes.
many ways, like, and this friend of mine, he was saying, like, and I have been doing that for a long time too without knowing. He is like, he's doing a lot of activities during the day, and he does the activities in a way that he, at the same time, is working muscles. So the way if he has to pick something in a low shelf, he is doing in a way that he works the legs, or if he's cleaning the house, he's doing it in a way that he tries to keep the posture and a lot of stuff. So actually, we can find the same kind of, let's say, training in other activities, but also you can every day work out, and so
Yeah,
whatever feels more comfortable to you. I don't feel that we have to suffer to expand, but at the same time, if we are too cozy, sometimes we don't want to see anything else. We are in a place cozy, so we stay there. So it's very interesting that we try to change the landscape, move energy every day, or
yeah.
because else, yeah, we start to get stuck in one point and feeling that okay, that's it, and there is nothing else behind this. I don't know if this makes sense to
I
you.
think there are two ways of suffering in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
The one is when I go through my workouts stronger after, or I suffer and I'm not able to deal with the situation, whatever comes up.
Can you
It's
repeat
like,
again? Can you repeat again because my connection is. So there are two kinds of suffering.
yeah, one is the one that I kind of inflicted to myself to get to my limit,
Yeah,
right? Um, but then at the end, I'm stronger after.
yeah.
And usually, when you have those days where you don't want to work out, and you take yourself and you have discipline and you go through the workout anyways, although you didn't want to do it, you feel even better after.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then you have the suffering that comes from you never having worked out and being weaker, and then, you get into a situation where you're not able to deal with it. So when I talk, I'm just giving workout as an example,
Yes,
but
of course.
you know, like if you get in an argument where somebody throws something at you in terms of what they tell you, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes you usually it would make you feel insecure.
Mm-hmm.
You might, if you're weak, you will react to it, and if you're strong, you will not react to it because you know yourself and because you know where your limits are, right? So I think there are two ways of suffering in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
and also like I'm not. What is being strong for you? Like
Yeah, that I wouldn't use the word weak or strong. I would use the word balance. If you are balanced, if you are in the point
yeah,
of in the middle, I see more like I told you the other time. I'm keep on seeing the infinite sign
Yes,
lately, and there is the middle.
yes,
So for me, that's what I'm trying to bring myself self always to the middle. There is
yes,
that bouncing, and you come back to the middle. And when you are
yeah.
in the middle, you know that all is in perfection, all is how it was supposed to be. And if someone says something that would trigger you before, now you contemplate and you say, okay, so there is a mirror for me here, and then you expand a little bit more. Uh, but when you are still in the bouncing, it's not easy to come back to the
That's
middle.
why, like,
Yeah.
I'm not using workout only,
Yes.
right? I'm using
Yes.
workout, but I meditate,
Mhm.
and like I use heat. I have a sauna. I'm
Mhm.
so blessed to have one.
Yeah.
And I use cold. So like you need to balance out, and I do fasting,
Mhm.
but it makes me value my food more.
Your food. Yes,
So
of
this
course.
like
Mhm.
right. So I love to eat. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So, but like I had lunch today, but I'm not gonna eat anymore until tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I've been like this is for example for me right now. I'm coming back to it. I'm on my third day where I'm doing OMAD, 1 meal a day, and actually I'm so grateful for fasting and for intermittent fasting. I'm doing intermittent fasting for 4 years now, more or less. And wait, what day is today? Is today is the
Uh,
fourth, isn't it?
Today is five, five, five. Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I've been doing fasting for about 4 and something years,
Mhm.
and um, and I'm so grateful for it because I would go through these periods where I would not eat, which
Mhm.
is taking yourself a little bit to the limit again. But
Mhm.
then when I was sitting in front of that plate with food, and I would fill it up, I'm like I'm gonna eat all of this, but then I was not able to anyways. Um, but I was sitting in front of the
Yeah.
food and I was like, oh my God, like I'm so thankful for this food. And I would, and it's that thing of, and I've been thinking about this today and actually was thinking about making a video about this, which is, you remember this music that was, which went like, don't it always seem to go that we don't know what we got till it's gone. We pay paradise to put up a parking lot. You remember that song?
No,
Don't
I'm
it
not
always
sure.
seem to go? Don't it always seem to go that we don't know what we got until it's gone,
Ah, yeah, yeah.
right?
There is a phrase about that. Yes,
So
of
it's
course.
in
Mhm.
Portuguese you say dado adquirido, right?
Mhm. Yes.
We take something for granted, and we're
Yes.
taking so much stuff for granted.
Yeah.
When we take our comfort for granted,
Yes.
and like for example, yesterday morning, or was it this morning? No, this morning, I took a hot shower, and I was like, wow.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because I've been doing exclusively cold showers. I
Yes.
only exclusively go into this pool down there,
Yeah.
and it's that thing like you only really know all the comforts you have when they are taken away from you.
Is the
And
contrast.
sometimes
The
why
contrast.
not? Why
Yes.
why not pride yourself for not having so much so that you can have the ability to value it when you use it and when you have it.
Yeah.
And so this is
That
again
is
a
one
practice that
tool.
comes back
That is
to,
one tool that you
yeah,
can use.
it comes
Yes.
back to
Mhm.
gratitude and thankfulness and giving value to all the things that we already have,
Mhm.
because there's so many people that live in depression and they have so much,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm like,
But they are not.
what's wrong with you?
Able to see it. So it's the
Yes,
contrast, let's say, that what you're
yes,
sharing is about contrast and how contrast then makes us value things more. But for me, about food, I have the experience of growing food. And as I started growing food, then first I was connecting much more deeply with the planet. So I started accessing information and feeling grateful.
yeah,
First, because I was seeing how many times, like a carrot, you eat a carrot, it takes 5 months to grow
yes.
a big carrot.
I've given up on carrots
Yeah,
actually.
no, they are amazing. They are amazing. I didn't give up, and we had amazing experience with carrots. So there are many techniques to reach the same for me. It's yeah, and we have been talking, sharing some. Um, but it was not what I'm going to share. But now I got lost. I don't know. But many pets the same destination, which is for me feeling free, feeling free, feeling free, and feeling joyful, and
Yeah.
we can
And it comes
call
back
many
to worth
names.
again.
Yeah, it can call many
It
names.
comes back to worth again, you know? Like
I don't know. Oh,
the
I remembered. I was speaking about suffering. Like I had a situation with suffering, very interesting. Then I was speaking with a friend, Pedro Elias. I don't know if you know him. He wrote some books, Pedro Elias, and let's say it's a little bit. It's a story, but has a spiritual. Um, it is in a spiritual way in the sense too, and it has a theory about Portugal and the Templars and the Rose, many things. And then I have
Pedro Elias something or not?
Pedro
Can you
Elias.
say
No, it's
is it
Pedro Elias.
Pedro Elias
Pedro
mais
Elias.
algum outro nome? Não.
No, but yeah, doesn't matter. But we were speaking, and then I was telling him a story that like I was at the beach and a big wave came and dragged me, and then my leg was twisted, and I fall, and then another waves were coming, and nobody was understanding that I was. My kids were near me, but they thought I was playing or kidding, and so I have to drag myself out. And during the entire experience, I was not suffering. I was in pain, and that is and when I was speaking with Pedro, then he clarified that idea to me because I was in pain, but I was not suffering because I was not like, oh, why did this happen to me? Or I was not creating thoughts about the experience. I was just in experience and okay, so what I have to do now? I have to get out from here, or else will be another wave and we will carry me to the sea. And there was a big sea with big waves. Do you know Lagoa de Santo André? It's a big
Yes.
waves, a very dangerous sea. And so
Yeah.
the, during the entire experience, I was not suffering. I was just
Mhm.
observing myself, observing my pain, and dealing with the situation in the now. So I was not
Yeah.
creating stories about this. And that is
Yeah.
the thing for me that when you are able to be in that center, you are just contemplating your own experience and you don't suffer anymore until you are able to get to that point, and that works as a muscle in the sense that you step a little bit aside, you observe, and then another one and then another one, and after sometimes you get so this you have this routine in the sense, yes, of observing yourself and not creating any ideas about what you are observing, and then it's amazing because there is no more suffering. There is just the pain, but you know that it's an experience of your body, and that was an
Yeah.
amazing experience for me because I'm so grateful that I had this experience. And right now, and some days after I felt, and again, the same, I was just observing, okay, am I still, oh, maybe I break something here and what I need to do right now. But I was not in suffer. I was not suffering. I don't know if you, if this makes sense for
Yeah,
you.
I I had some situations. One of the things that it kind of clicked in me is or that made me think of is the flow state. Like now there's a lot of talk about the flow state and how it's very much almost like the influence of psychedelics as well, but in a natural way, right? So you're very much your creativity goes off the charts. You're at peace. You're very intuitive. Like you react in a very natural way to things. And this is the one of the states that are is described by extreme sports
Yes.
practitioners like surfers,
Yeah.
snowboarders,
Yeah.
skateboarders. I skated for 15 years, so So this was like this thing, like when you do a trick and you're like in this flow state, and it's almost like time expands, and you see all these different more you see more seconds or more moments where you can, you know, see how the movement goes and how the board flips and all of this stuff,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
usually it's situations where there is some risk. You need to be really focused on what is important.
You are in the now.
Um, exactly. And I, then one example for me was I was in California in 2014, and I went there to trim cannabis, to make some money, and I traveled for about a month, all around California, from San Francisco until Arcata, hitchhiking with the bus, and then and and sleeping in the forest, and all of this, and then also made friends in the trip and all of this, and we were driving. At one point, we were driving with this Volkswagen bus. We were like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven in the bus. I
Paulo
was sitting on
Forte.
the floor.
Tipo Paulo
Yes,
Forte. Yeah.
exactly. And then, like, we had all our stuff in the car, and then the car flipped in a curve. Like, a curve was really like
Yeah.
going around like this, and it flipped and it slided on its roof, and it hit the stone. If it didn't have hit that stone, the car would have
Would
gone down
fall. Yes.
a
Yeah.
ravine, like a
Yeah.
probably flipping, I don't know, 20 times or something.
Yeah.
And we were really lucky. And, the car stopped finally, like it hit the rock and
Yeah.
came back to the
Stopped.
side. No windows were broken. We were super lucky. Just one friend, he broke his
Yeah.
clavicle. I don't know this bone here. And then another friend was not so lucky. That was the driver. He had like a really
Yeah.
exposed fracture
Severe
with the
injury.
nerve
Yeah.
and so on. But that moment for me, the driver was screaming like a pig, basically.
Oh no.
Connor, I really love him, and we were really connected now. And actually, this happening to him brought him very big personal development. Really, really, like a lot of growth. But again, for me, this moment was one of the calmest moments in my life. Like the car had just slided on its roof, and everybody was freaked out.
Yeah.
The car was full of smoke, and I was super calm. And I basically we walked out of the front window of the car, and the other friend, he was like freaking out
Yeah.
because there was smoke, and there was only smoke because the car was still running. The motor was still running, and the tires were still turning.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh my God, there's smoke! The car might explode or something." And I just went to the car keys and turned off the car.
Yeah.
And then I went out, and my friend was with his hand like this,
Yeah.
and we were helping him out. But this moment for me was like flow, like I was very attentive to everything,
Yes.
but I was
Because you
calm,
were in the
and I
center.
wasn't fearful at all,
Mm.
and it was amazing.
Yes.
I, I I think there was this background. I had Vipassana already. I was meditating almost every day, and I was, having all these beautiful experiences in nature, and being out in nature, sleeping in the forest, and all of this. And I was obviously out of my comfort zone in California because I went somewhere where I didn't know anybody, and I was, taking rides with people that I don't know, and I was kind of opening myself up to the universe.
Yeah.
And these things happen, and I'm kind of now it's like I really laugh about it, and I have told the story to many people already. But that moment that stayed in my mind, like that really being in the flow, super calm and
Yeah.
at peace with the whole situation, and then taking decisions very very like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great experience. So I think, yeah, maybe we already have 1 hour and 25 minutes. I'm loving this
Mhm.
conversation as always, but I don't know, maybe we should end for today. And I'm here if you want to do another one soon.
Yeah, definitely.
We have Joy saying, yeah, cool, your guides assisted their growth. She says, Robin Cabral says, detachment with love. And yeah, many comments. I'm so grateful for you all joining and commenting and being part of this co-creation. And I'm very grateful to Carson also for
Mhm.
for this for this heartfelt
Yeah,
share.
thank you too.
And
Um,
I'll give you the mic. So you say goodbye.
yes.
Yeah.
So I will give you my contacts again, or you just look up. I mean, like most people that are seeing this now, they probably see my contact as well. Um, and also from the the show notes of you have this on your YouTube as well, right?
Yes,
Uh,
yes. And after I stop the transmission, we can stay a little bit if you have 5 minutes and we speak more. I don't
yeah,
know if you want to
yes.
say something else for the people that
No,
are
just
joining us.
I'm yeah. People are if people want to take a look at what I've been doing lately, I'm creating this kind of concept which basically came from my whole process. So all the experiences that I have made and all the things that I have applied to kind of overcome my lack of self confidence and all of that and my not feeling good enough and becoming better, stronger, and also healing myself and my body because I had some troubles and situations regarding food allergies or so on. So I'm creating this concept called Mind Shape Heart Set. And yeah, take a look at it on my Facebook. I have a lot of content where I talk about many of the concepts that we talked about right now. How we talk to ourselves, how we like little things about intermittent fasting, about diet as well, and how to work out, and um, well, how to in the end how to become a better you or something like that. And yeah, take a look and see. I'm sure there's some content that will interest you. And yeah, other than that, I hope you have a beautiful day. And yeah, get in touch with me if you want to know more.
Okay, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Carson.
and
Yeah,
yes, thank you again, and thank you for your work that you're doing. And yeah, I hope we have another conversation like this. And I hope this conversation adds value to other people's lives. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. And yeah, thank you everybody for joining as well. And yeah, again, thank you.
thank you. So I'm stopping
Bye.
transmission.